Often in animation, I'm solving problems that I've never encountered before, and I hope to bring some of them to you, so maybe they help you out someday. They're very obscure. They might not be directly related to what you're doing, but you might find some ideas that are hidden in here. My current problem was I needed to have this shadow, this box, let's say, on the ground, follow the body of my biped wolf bot that I made here. So right now it's just a box, and when I move my character, let's say he's got two legs, when I move him left and right, the box doesn't move. I want the shadow to move though. So I made a bone, and it's not parented or anything. So if I take a look over here, it's not parented over here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this bone's X position to move this bone. And if you've never used this before, it's pretty cool. So I named my bone Shadow so I can keep him organized. Go to Bone Constraints, and right here under Position Control Bone, I'm telling this bone to use B1, which is this bone here. I'm telling it to use the X position in a 1-to-1 ratio. So that means when this one moves at a 1-to-1 ratio. I don't want it to move in the Y direction, meaning vertical, at all. So I set that to 0. You can play around and have some fun with that. But this is basically what it does. So when this moves left and right, it works great. When this moves up and down, when my character moves up and down, this does not move up and down at all. All you need to do is link your artwork to your bone, and there we go. So now when I set up a walk cycle or something like that, my shadow will move really well. The second thing I'd like to show you is the feet. So, okay, great. We got a shadow working, awesome and everything, but now we have these blocky feet that look kind of weird when we start walking. So if I have this guy strike a pose here, and let's say he's in that pose. This foot isn't looking too hot because the foot isn't really contacting the ground. It depends on what type of artwork you have. But we have a rectangle. So how would I control this a little bit better? Well, it's about how I rig my character. So right now, what I have is I have point binding going on. I have a bone, and if I select my layer, all 4 points are bound to that bone. Well, that's not really working, so I need to rethink this. I'm going to select my bone. I'm going to select these top 2 points and bind those. Now, I'm going to select my target bone and select my bottom 2 points and bind those. So now I have 2 different looks. I have my normal foot over here, and I have a different foot here. So this one's sticking to the ground a little bit better. This one's not looking too hot. So that's the way that I would go about things. The next issue that you may have to resolve is when they're walking and you want to pick a leg up. So yeah, that doesn't look too hot. But what you can do is hold Option down and rotate your bone when needed. Let me show you another example of this. So I did a small walk cycle. If I take you through that, what I did right here where these keyframes are highlighted, I just went through a walk cycle, and then I rotated the bone as needed in a couple of keyframes. Right here, the bone is normal, and then in the next pose, the next keyframe, I needed to rotate the bone just a touch. And then the next pose, I think he's back again, and then he's down on the ground.